So basically, we talked about area velocity relations, and we looked into how flow varies for a nozzle and diffuser. So this is basically a diverging passage, and this is a converging passage. Okay, so we looked at how flow varies for different Mach number regimes. So we talked about subsonic and supersonic regime. So this is like a summary slide. I have made one detailed slide for you. So let us go through this one by one. So let's say this is a converging passage. Okay, converging and diverging. Let us first look at the blue region of the table, which is for subsonic, Mach number less than 1, and then we'll go to supersonic, Mach number more than 1. Okay, so let us start with this blue region. So they are the two. These are the two typically two type of nozzles that we'll consider. This is converging. Converging means that the area is decreasing, or I can say dA by dx is less than 0, right? And this is the case where area is increasing with x. So this direction is, let us say, x. So this is my x direction, right? So area is, here the area is, let me get a pointer. Here the area is decreasing with x. Here the area is increasing with s. This is fine to everyone? Someone should be there to say yes or no. Otherwise, I don't know if I have lost the connection or what.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so area is decreasing, area is increasing. Now let us take both of these case for subsonic regime. Subsonic means Mach number at odd scenario is less than 1, which means, okay, what are the equations that we are referring to? So if you go to the last slide, we had these two equations. From these two equations, we derived this flow regime. Now, if I looked into more closely, okay, so area and velocity will always be positive. So I can say that, let me get a pen here. So I can say dA by dV is, I can say this is proportional to 1 minus m square with a negative sign, right? Similarly, dA by dP is proportional to 1 minus m square. This will always be positive. Area is positive, rho is positive, v square is positive. So I can say dA by dP is proportional to 1 minus m square. Now, whatever sign I have for dA by dV, that will be governed by this. Whatever sign this quantity has, that will determine what is the sign of this. So that is the idea. So let us use these two equations. Okay, now we are clear about the area. Now we are clear about the Mach number. So if Mach number is less than 1, 1 minus m square will always be greater than 0, right? Because m is less than 1. Same for this. Okay, now if you look at this equation, if 1 minus m square is positive for both of them, so it means that dA by dP should be positive, right? Because RHS is positive, so this will also be positive. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. Now this is about dA dP. Now what about pressure? So I want to know how my pressure varies in x. I know dA by dP. What about dA by dx? So dA by dx I know is negative for this. Area is decreasing as we go along in x. So dA by dx is negative. dA by dP is positive, which means dP by dx is negative, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Similarly, for this case, dA by dx is positive. This is also positive, which means dP by dx is also positive, which means that pressure is increasing for this and pressure is decreasing for this. As we move along in x direction, or as we go along the flow, pressure decreases and pressure increases for these two types of configuration. Now let us look at velocity. So for velocity, I know that from the last slide, dA by dt is proportional to minus of 1 minus m square, right? So I will find what is the sign of 1 minus m square. 1 minus m square is, so 1 minus m square is positive. For subsonic flows, it means that this is always negative, which is what we see here. dA by dV is negative for both these conditions, for both the converging as well as diverging passages. Now again, I know dA by dV and I know dA by dx. So both are negative, it means velocity is increasing. dV by dx is positive. Fine. Similarly, dA by dx is positive and this is negative. It means that velocity is negative. Velocity is decreasing with x. So I can conclude that for a converging passage, this is called a nozzle. So for a nozzle at subsonic flow, pressure is decreasing while velocity is increasing. Similarly, for a diverging passage, okay, where area is increasing with x, pressure is increasing as well as velocity is decreasing. So these are the characteristics. Let me circle them. So these are the characteristics what we found for subsonic flow. This is true for Mach number less than 1. Okay, this is our basis for these equations. Now let us go to supersonic. Let us say your Mach number is more than 1. So similarly we have dA by dx is negative and positive here, and since Mach number is more than 1, it means that 1 minus m square will always be 0, right? Now based on this, if I look at this equation, 1 minus m square is always less than 0, negative. It means this quantity will be negative, right? For both the configurations, dA by dP will be negative. Okay, so we know that dA by dx is negative. This is also negative. It means that dP by dx is positive. What does it mean? If we go along the flow, pressure will increase or decrease?
Pressure will increase.
Increase.
Right? Similarly, for this one, dA by dx is positive, dA by dP is negative. So if you combine these two, you will get dP by dx is negative. So if you go along this passage, pressure will decrease. Similarly, let us talk about velocity. So now m square is more than 1. So 1 minus m square is less than, it is negative. One negative is already there. So this whole term becomes positive, right? So dA by dV will be positive. Okay. Now I know dA by dV is positive, but dA by dx is negative. So which means that dV by dx will also be negative. Sorry. So which means dA by dV will always be also be negative. Okay. Similarly, dA by dx is positive and dA by dV is also positive. If you combine both of them, you know that dV by dx is positive. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so to summarize this slide, what I can say is these are the two equations which we are using to find how pressure and velocity varies as you go along the flow. And these are the different configurations. So what we see is that for subsonic cases, for a converging passage, velocity increases and pressure decreases, whereas for a diverging passage, velocity decreases and pressure increases. Okay, so these are the characteristic features for these flow passages which we observe in subsonic flow. Now if you go to supersonic cases, the opposite happens. So for converging passages, velocity decreases and pressure increases, which is, you see, it is opposite of what was happening in subsonic. Similarly, for a diverging passage, velocity increases and pressure decreases. So generally, a passage where we see increase in velocity, we call this, and this is called a nozzle, and this is a diffuser for subsonic. Similarly, for if you go to supersonic, we can say that this is a diffuser and this acts like a nozzle. So the role reverses because of change in this sign, because 1 minus m square changes sign from subsonic to supersonic, hence the flow features changes. So this is a very important concept for this particular subject, that the behavior entirely changes whether you're talking about whether if you are in subsonic regime or supersonic regime. Okay, now let us say I have only convergent duct or area is decreasing. So what will happen? Okay, so let me first explain the configuration. So what do we have here is that suppose there's a large tank which is attached here. Let me show it for you. So suppose this is connected to a large tank. Okay, a tank. So large means that it is so large. So you have some flow, but the pressure and temperature remains constant. P0 and T0 are constant. The pressure of the tank does not changes appreciably while you are taking some fluid out. Okay, the flow does not changes the properties inside the tank. Now I have a converging passage which is connected to a chamber. Okay, now this chamber, it could be you can exhaust it to the atmospheric conditions, or what you can do is you can connect this to a exhauster or a vacuum pump, and you can reduce the pressure. So basically, this is we'll call this at a back pressure PB. Okay, so I can make back pressure lower than atmospheric so as to have different delta P's. Okay, so to establish a flow, basically I need to have some delta P, right? If the pressure is higher here, then the flow will go back. But I want the flow to come in this direction. So this pressure has to be lower than the tank pressure, right? And I can vary this pressure to obtain different flow characteristics or different flow regimes. Okay, so what do we see here is that, let me delete these things. Okay, now what do we see here is that if you okay, if you keep, let us say, pressure same as tank pressure, then this is how it will look. So there will not be any flow and pressure is constant from the tank to this chamber. Now let us say I decrease the pressure. I decrease PV from 1 to 2 here. So what will happen? Flow is there and the pressure decreases in this fashion. Pressure decreases continuously from the tank to the exit. Okay, I can keep on decreasing this. So this will follow this regime. Now, after some time, suppose if I keep my pressure very low, lower than this, okay, this limit is P star by P naught. Okay, what is that? Anyone can tell me what is star stands for?
Critical pressure.
Can you speak little louder?
Critical pressure.
Critical. So where I expect the flow to become sonic at the throat. Okay, throat is the minimum area. So this is the minimum area, right, at E. So there I expect the flow to become sonic or Mach is equal to 1. So if I take pressure up to that, okay, then it will go smoothly. If I make this PV lower than that, lower than P star, okay, so what will happen is there will be some irreversibility like shock waves, which we will study later. But let us look at how pressure varies, pressure and mass flow varies. First, let us talk about pressure. So if you look at these plots, so we have different, let us talk about regime 1. So in regime 1, we are decreasing PB and we are getting a smooth flow, okay, up to here. So what we see from 1 to 4, you keep on decreasing PB. So, okay, let us talk about the axis here. Let me bring it up. Okay, so for okay, so what is shown in this axis is x-axis shows you PE by P naught, and sorry, this is y-axis and this is x-axis. So x-axis is PB. PB is the drag pressure. What is the pressure you are maintaining in this chamber? And P is the pressure at point E. So at the exit or at the throat of this nozzle, what is the pressure that is observed? Okay, so basically, and these two pressures are normalized by P naught. P naught is your reservoir pressure. Okay. Now what we see here is that for regime 1, okay, if you keep on decreasing the PV is decreasing and PE is decreasing correspondingly. Okay, they are following the same trend up to 0.4. So whatever you decrease PV, the same amount PE will match that. Okay, that is there till 0.4 where you are just reached that sonic point, choking point. Okay, till there everything is fine, everything goes on smoothly. Now if you reduce PB lower than that, PB is, so this at 0.5, PB is lower than P star. Okay, so then at the exit, this does not reduce to that point. Okay, it says that I will remain at P star. This P cannot go lower than P star, and you will see some discontinuity in the flow. So this is caused by shock waves and expansion waves. That we'll discuss in later chapters, but for now you can think that some discontinuous or irreversible processes are observed. Okay, so once we discuss what is a shock wave, what is the expansion fan, then you will be clear with what exactly is happening here. But we need some more theoretical background to understand what goes on. Okay, next is let us talk about the mass flow rate. Okay, so what will happen here is that mass flow rate, let us start from point 1. So point 1, there is no flow, right? The pressure is same in the chamber and at the exit. So there is no flow, mass flow rate is 0. Okay, let us first talk about the axis. So y-axis shows mass flow rate. This is non-dimensional form. Okay, and this is again non-dimensional, let us say mass flow rate. And this is again the PB and P naught. Basically, back pressure normalized by your reservoir pressure. Okay, so for the first point, I have equal pressure in reservoir and backflow. So there is no flow, mass flow rate is 0. For the next point, I decrease. Okay, this is going backwards. So pressure is getting decreased. So I decreased back pressure to 0.2 and mass flow rate increase because there is a higher delta P. So flow rate will be higher. Again, if I keep on increasing to 0.3, mass flow rate increase proportionately. Okay, whatever the delta P is there, that will correspond to your mass flow rate. Now, this is interesting. Once I reach 0.4, mass flow rate becomes constant. Okay, even if PV is decreased after that, the mass flow rate does not increase. Normally, you will expect that, okay, I'm increasing the delta P, so mass flow rate should keep on increasing, but that does not happen. Okay, the curve, what is intuitive is that you will expect that the curve will keep on growing. Okay, but that does not happen. This becomes constant. Or I can say that for the sonic point, the mass flow rate is maximum and that maximum is maintained however low pressure you have. You can have pressure here. These are very lower as compared to P naught. But still the mass flow rate will be maintained at this m dot, and also the pressure, exit pressure will be maintained at the same P star level. Is this clear to everyone? What is happening to this?
Yes, sir. So, for this flow, what is the Mach number? Means like can be anything or something specific.
Okay, so for this flow, we are maintaining Mach number is subsonic. So there, when this type of discontinuity happen, let us say there's a shock. So Mach number, what we see here is for this point, it will reach to Mach is equal to 1. Okay. If it tries to goes beyond that, then because of shock, it will come down and we'll again have subsonic flow. So locally, okay, let me mark that for you. So locally for regime 1, everywhere Mach number is less than 1. For this particular point where your pressure reaches the choke pressure, we'll have M is equal to 1 at E. But after that it becomes subsonic, and when we have discontinuity, then we can have some local points where Mach number is higher than 1, but it soon drops. Okay, because of that shock, it soon comes to subsonic. So overall, generally we say that we are getting subsonic flow. Whatever you measure here, that will always be subsonic. We will anyway we'll talk more about this choke flow after we discuss D level nozzle. Fine. Is this clear?
Yes.
Okay. So the question is, okay, let us talk about choked. So as I already mentioned, when a nozzle is choked, it means that it has a maximum velocity, and which is basically your sonic velocity at the throat. Just at the exit, at this point, you have sonic velocity. Then I say that this flow is choked, and then you have maximum mass flow rate. This is that point. Okay. Now at the minimum area throat, what I just mentioned, and mass flow rate is maximum. Okay, assuming that P naught is constant, P naught is not changing, then I say that the mass flow rate is constant. Okay, now the question is that we are not able to achieve a simple clean flow. We cannot go to supersonic using these nozzles. Okay, why? You look at this plot. This is what we have discussed in 2 slides back. So whenever you have Mach number less than 1, velocity is increasing. Okay, if I pass a flow through this, velocity will increase. Now as soon as it becomes Mach number becomes more than 1, then it will decrease the velocity. Okay, let us say if you by some process you manage to get Mach number more than 1 here, okay, at some section, then again because it is a converging passage, it will act as a diffuser. So it will reduce your velocity, and finally you will have subsonic flow. Right? Now this is again a diffuser for subsonic. So if you are starting with subsonic flow, you cannot accelerate it to supersonic. Okay, so what do we do? If I want to generate a clean, uniform supersonic flow without any shock, without any normal or oblique shock or any expansion fan or any discontinuities or irreversible processes, what should I do? So for that, we use a CD nozzle. Okay, this CD is for converging, diverging. So the first part is converging and the second part is diverging. So this type of design was first proposed by engineer who is known as, I forgot his full name, but D level something was his name. So in his honor, we call this nozzle as D level nozzle. Okay. So now we can generate a supersonic flow using this nozzle. What we need to do is, for Mach less than 1, we'll use the converging part. Okay. And we'll try to get M is equal to 1 at this throat. Right? Now, once it becomes sonic, then this diverging part will increase your velocity. Right? After that, the velocity is increasing here. So we get a continuous acceleration. Here also flow is accelerated. Here also flow is accelerated. So at the end of this duct, you get a flow which is supersonic. And that happens at the design pressure. That we'll talk in detail. Okay. Is this understood? What we are talking about? Why this is required? Why I cannot use one single nozzle to generate supersonic? And why do I use? What is the use of actually CD nozzle? That is what I am trying to convey this slide. Is this clear to you all? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let us now look at flow through this CD duct. So it will also have some flow. Yes, any question? Okay. So let us discuss what happens here. So this is a CD nozzle, converging and diverging. And this is the throat area, which we are most interested in. PT is the pressure at that area. And at the back pressure, we have PB, which is variable. So which is the pressure of this chamber basically. And this is connected to a reservoir which has P0 and T0 maintained constant, as we have seen in the last slide. Okay. Now, what are the pressures, important pressures for us? P0 is anyway constant. PB is what we are changing. And we want to see how pressure varies at exit and throat because of change in PB. PB will keep on changing and see how it varies. Okay, that is the idea. This is connected to, let us say, a vacuum pump, which can decrease PB whatever we want to. Okay, so this is how, now let us talk about how pressure varies, P by P0. So P at, we'll see how P varies from here to here, or let us say in this PB. Okay, so this is drawn correspondingly. So now let us talk about the first case. So initially, let us say if you have PB is equal to P0, then there will be no flow and your pressure will be constant everywhere. It will follow this line. Now let us say decrease PB to a little bit, and we have what will happen is this is the PB. Okay, so pressure will keep on decreasing till it reaches some point, and there pressure will increase, and then it will be equal to PB. Can anyone explain why this is happening? Pressure is decreasing and here it is increasing. Why is that so? Based on what we have discussed so far. Why will pressure decrease and increase? Why not just decrease continuously like this? I can also have like this, right? Can have pressure is
Cross-sectional
decreasing
area
continuously to
increasing
P.
and
Why
initially
this
cross-sectional
decrease and
area.
increase?
I think
Yes.
due to change
So
in
what do we call
cross-sectional area.
when you cross section? Okay. So what do we call converging, diverging? So this is a converging passage, right? Till now we are dealing with subsonic flow. So for a converging passage, if the flow is subsonic, what will happen? Pressure will increase or decrease? Let me go back to, okay, this slide also.
Decrease.
Talking about a converging area, pressure
will
is always
decrease.
decreasing. When you go to a diverging area, sorry, when you go to a diverging area where Mach number is more than 1, then pressure is again, something is, fine. Pressure should also decrease then. Okay. So because of throat, we are seeing that issue. Okay. Sorry. Because let me go back to this slide. So we are always in subsonic regime, right? So pressure is decreasing first, and then it is increasing. We see a plot like this, right? So this is because of converging diverging passage. Okay, so that's correct. Now let us finish this. So this is for case 1. Okay, case 1, it means that flow is coming back to PB. Similarly for case 2, if you decrease the PB further, the flow will, pressure will decrease and then it will come back to PB, whatever PB that you have maintained. Till when it will happen? Till it reaches P star, or when at the throat you have P star or choked flow. Okay, once you have a choked flow there, till that the pressure will decrease and come back to PB. Okay, like what we have seen in the previous slide. Once you keep the pressure below that, PB is below that, then we'll get discontinuities. Okay, and then the pressure at this PT will be held at sonic P is equal to Mach number 1, and then we'll have discontinuities, and from that we'll see that pressure adjusted and reaches your value. That is regime. Let me show you how it varies. So this is for case 3. Okay, so till here the flow is subsonic. At the throat the flow becomes choked or sonic, and then it reaches supersonic velocities, but at the end you have a shock. Okay, so this is a normal shock. We'll deal about what is a shock in much more detail in the next slide. For now, in the next chapter actually. For now, you can think of shock as a discontinuity. Okay, so if the flow is passing through a shock, a supersonic flow becomes subsonic. Shock decreases your velocity and increases your pressure. Okay, let us talk about velocity. So even if you have generated supersonic flow, if it passes through this shock, it becomes subsonic. Okay, so this is the discontinuity that I was talking about. This is what will cause features like this. Okay, now this is the shock here at case 3. Similarly, if I go to case 4 on case 5, we'll see that the shock is moving out. This is just at the exit, and then this shock is moved out of the nozzle, and we see now this is an normal shock. Normal means it is normal to your flow. It is at 90 degree to the flow. That is called normal shock. Now the shock, when it comes at an angle to the flow, that is called oblique shock. What you are seeing here. Okay, so initially we have normal shock which moves till the exit of the nozzle, and then it becomes oblique. Okay, and then we have this is called expansion fan and things like that. So these are which we call discontinuities or irreversible processes, which consist of shock, oblique shock, normal shock, and divergent fans. So these are the things which will happen when you go to very low pressures. When the PB is very low, much lower as compared to basically P star. P star is our main criteria here. Once this flow reaches choked condition, after that you keep on decreasing, the pressure at the throat will not change. It will be held constant at P star. Okay. Now, in spite of that, there is one case which is very interesting. What will happen is, once you reach choked condition in the throat, so there are two possibilities now. If your pressure is at 2, PB is 2 at state 2, so it will become choked here, and then it will return to subsonic condition, and then it reaches 2. That is one branch. Another interesting branch is that this flow just become choked here or sonic at the throat, and it keeps on continuously getting accelerated. Okay, so when your pressure is at 6, if your PB is at 6, this is called your design pressure. Okay, this is what you have designed your nozzle for. So when your pressure reaches 6, so it continuously accelerates, and you don't see any shock or any discontinuity in your flow. Okay, so this is a very special design condition, case 6, where no such discontinuity is there, or if you are in sonic regime, then there is no discontinuity. Otherwise, you will see discontinuities like this, normal shock and oblique shock, and because of that, different flow features are there which we are yet to discuss. Okay, is this clear?
Sir, before the neck
Yes.
point or throat point, the flow is subsonic or supersonic?
Flow is always subsonic. what we have
Always
discussed.
subsonic. Before the
Flow-
neck point.
Yes, before the neck point, flow is always subsonic.
Okay.
See, if you want to generate supersonic, the pressure should be lower than this P naught. So that does not happen here, right? If you look at this plot. Okay, any more questions?
Sir, case 6 is just random or any other specification to a T?
No, case 6 is what this nozzle, okay, so this nozzle has some contour, it has some angle at which it is converging or diverging, what is the length of this section and what is the length of this section, right? Based on this design, your nozzle will work. These are your design features, right? So this design is based on this. This is my target. If I want to achieve this type of flow at this particular pressure, okay, so suppose you are designing this nozzle and you are given this pressure. So for this pressure, you should get a clean supersonic flow. Then based on that, you will design the contour and the angle and all that. Okay, so it is not random. This is exactly how you want your nozzle to work. But if you are not at this particular pressure level, then these type of things will happen. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now let us look at how your mass flow rate varies. Mass flow rate, exit pressure and throat pressure. Okay, so P is for exit pressure. Pressure at this location. PT is pressure at throat. Okay, let me delete these points. Okay. Let me use a pointer. So P is your exit pressure, PT is your throat pressure, and which is non-dimensionalized by P naught. P naught is this reservoir pressure. Okay, and this is your mass flux, non-dimensionalized mass flux, and which is shown as a ratio of as a function of PV, back pressure. Okay, so similar to what we have seen in the last two left side. Okay, what we have seen here is that once your flow becomes, let me clean this up. So what was our main observation here is that once your flow becomes sonic, mass flow rate becomes constant. Mass flow rate will not change. However small PB you have, you can decrease the PB to very small values, but mass flow rate will be always be constant after your choke conditions. Okay. Similarly here, once your nozzle becomes, throat becomes choked. So throat is becoming choked between 3 to 4. Around here the nozzle becomes choked. So after that your mass flow rate becomes constant. Oh sorry, mass flow rate constant at 2. So at 2 your throat is choked at 2, right? So after 2 whatever you do, mass flow rate will not increase. However low the value of PV you obtain, mass flow rate will be constant. Okay. So basically you are increasing velocity. When you talk about supersonic flow, you are increasing the velocity, but density is also decreasing. Overall, your mass flow rate remains constant as long as P naught is constant. P naught you have to maintain constant. That is the only criteria here. Okay. So as soon as you reach P star, after that your mass flow rate becomes constant. Right. Now let us look at exit pressure, which is here at the exit of this nozzle. So when you are subsonic region, that is fine. So how this plot shows how the exit pressure varies with respect to PB. PB is back pressure. Okay. So this is what is variable and this is depending on PB. Now if I keep on decreasing PB, this will decrease correspondingly. Say by the same amount, it will also decrease and both will be equal. That is true till when you reached sonic conditions. Okay, now after that till 4 your pressure will can keep on decreasing, but after that it becomes constant. Okay, so you cannot decrease the exit pressure continuously. Okay, at some point it will remain constant. Okay, so this is at 4 where you have one this what do you call normal shock at the exit. Just at the exit you have normal shock. Till here you can decrease. After that this sort of discontinuities will come and pressure will remain constant at this. Okay. Now let us talk about the throat pressure. So similarly we see that throat pressure is decreasing with back pressure till 0.3. After 0.3 it reaches choking pressure, and then once it reaches the choke pressure, choke conditions, it will always be there. It will not change from that. Okay, so that is why we are seeing a maxima of mass flow rate. Okay, any questions on this slide? Is it clear? Not clear? Shall I move forward? Okay, let us have some comments on this slide, then maybe you will appreciate it better. So, the flow is becoming sonic at the throat for two conditions. Okay, this is not correct. Flow is becoming after case 2, the flow is always sonic here. Sorry, at the throat, at the throat, the flow is always sonic after case 2. Okay. Now, for case 2, the flow attains sonic choked condition at the throat, and everywhere else it is subsonic, as you can see here. For case 2, this is the only point where it becomes sonic, otherwise it is always subsonic. How I can say it is subsonic? Because the pressure is higher than P star. If it is supersonic, then the pressure will be lower than this. If it is lower than this line, then somewhere it is supersonic. Okay. Now mass flow rate attains maxima at case 2 and do not change with decrease in dB. It attains maxima and it follows that constantly. Case 6. Okay, now case 6 is the case where the flow is throughout accelerated. Okay, from even in converging and diverging both the passages, it is continuously accelerated and it does not see any discontinuities. It does not see any shock or expansion fan or any oblique shock being formed. So this is basically what we are trying to achieve using this design. So when you design a CD nozzle for obtaining a supersonic flow, this is our target. This is what we are trying to achieve. Okay. Exit pressure so basically whatever the exit pressure you see for case 6, this is called the design pressure. Okay, when you design a nozzle, you said that this is my design pressure, that this is that pressure for case 6. Now let us talk about the regimes. So for regime 1, no shock is there. Okay, and flow is always subsonic except for the throat in case 2. So here 1, 2, everywhere the flow is subsonic except for this case where the flow becomes sonic at the throat. Regime T, you see, regime 2, you see normal shock. Regime 3, you see oblique shock. And regime 4, we see oblique expansion wave. So we will study next chapter, we'll study about normal shock. And after that, we'll study about oblique shock. So for now, you just remember these names. So these are the flow features that are getting formed here. So for regime 2, as you can see here, you are getting normal shocks. Okay, case 3 and 4 are at regime 2. We are getting normal shocks. For case 5, we are getting oblique shocks. Okay, so two possibilities are shown for case 5. We are seeing oblique shock, or this is getting this is oblique and normal. This is only oblique shock. Okay, and for this is regime 4, where we see expansion waves. Okay, this is for case 7. Fine. Any questions on this? See, this is like one of the most important plots for the subject. Once you are very thorough with this, then it will be easy for you going forward. So any questions, please ask me now.
Sir, there is no change in exit pressure for the case of oblique shock. So, which is good or not?
Oblique shock means which? Tell me which case you are referring to.
Sir, in this diagram,
This
uh,
one.
this one first diagram, sir, 4, 5, 6, 7 point. Exit pressure is
5, 6,
constant.
7. Yes. So basically, it shows that if you look at this plot, once you reach 0.4, after that you keep on increasing the back pressure. This will not change. Exit pressure will not change. So what was your question? Can you repeat again?
So means in case of normal shock, that exit pressure will change, but in case of oblique shock, that exit pressure will not change. So which situation is much better, oblique case situation or normal shock case situation?
See, it will depend on what is the output that you want. Okay, so let us first finish normal and oblique shock. Then you realize, so both of them have different flow features. Okay, once the flow passes through normal shock, generally, okay, one very uh, strong difference between normal and oblique is once the flow passes through this, it becomes subsonic. While oblique shock, it could remain supersonic also. So anyway, we need some theoretical background to cover for both of them. Then we can better discuss which one is better. But answer is that I cannot say this is better or that one is better. It depends on what you are trying to generate. For example, this is called the design pressure. Okay, this is one case. Now suppose I am doing some experiment where I want the shock to be there, so then this is the best for me. Or suppose there's some situation where you want to see oblique shocks, so then you can have this. So I don't know what best in terms of what.
So, but for the case of real life example, like when you are designing something in that case.
See, in that case, we'll let me go through some examples. So basically, we have okay. Let me wait for 2 3 slides. Then we'll come back to our question. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So this is we have already discussed. Now let us talk about leakage. So this is what, when you have a properly designed CD nozzle, you have a contoured nozzle which has proper converging and diverging section. Now let us say if I have a high pressure tank, I just poked a hole, or any straight pipe is there without any contoured profiles. So what will happen? So we see something like which is called barrel shock, which is discontinuity. Okay, we will see shock cells, or we basically get underexpanded jets. Okay, so this is how it looks. So basically, there are two different regimes. NPR stands for nozzle pressure ratio. So underexpanded jets, okay, let me first define that. So any jet which is basically your nozzle pressure is higher than the ambient pressure. Okay, or this tank pressure is higher than the atmospheric pressure, that jet is called underexpanded jet. Okay, now if this is the ratio between your NPR is, the full form of NPR is nozzle pressure ratio, and this is the ratio between your tank pressure or nozzle pressure divided by atmospheric pressure. So if you have a tank pressure of 1.42 atmospheres, this is how it will look. So this is called shock cells or diamonds. So you see alternating cells where pressure and velocity vary. Okay, and if you have higher NPR where the pressure is much higher than atmosphere, let us say 3.5, 3.5 times, 10 times, then you see something like this, where this bag disc is formed. Again, I will not go into detail about what is this, but we will come back to this example once we are finished with once we are finished with the theoretical background of normal and oblique shocks. So that background is required to fully understand what is happening here. I'm just showing you this is an example. Okay, so this is called under-expanded jets. Let me show some more images. So you see this, these are the various flow features that I will again not discuss. First, let us finish about normal and oblique shocks. But the interesting point is, you see, after this normal shock, you see what is the velocity here is around 600 or 800 meters per second. This is for a very high pressure jet. Now the velocity suddenly drops to, let us say, 200 or something. So there are very interesting features that we will look into what happens in this. Let me show you one video also. So this is actually from a NASA report. Okay, from this particular paper I have downloaded. So what you see here is these points are actually normal shocks. Okay, this video shows how vortices interact with shock. What is oscillations. So because of this vortices, the shock cells oscillate. So there are a lot of interesting work because of this, and this generates sound. So if you see a high pressure jet released, you suddenly listen a screeching sound. So for example, in aeroplanes, you see a loud noise because of the exhaust from the jet nozzle, okay, at the afterburner. So that screeching sound is produced by this phenomena. Okay, anyway, this is beyond your scope, but this is just an interesting example which I wanted to show you. Okay, now yes, Neha. So these are some examples where we see different applications of different types of flow features, whether it is a normal shock or oblique shock. So once I will say, let us cover this, then you can decide what is best for you or what is that you want from that flow field. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now let us talk about D-level nozzle. Let me see.
Yes, sir. Class.
Okay. Yeah, we are running out of time. You have class now?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we'll stop for today. Okay, so we'll